Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Tuesday morning. Welcome to Hot Mic on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Rapid City. Hello to everybody in South Dakota. And we're also streaming on Inform.com. Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. Good morning. Thanks for starting your day off with us. Sam Getzinger filling in for Dom Izzo today. He is on vacation mode for the rest of the week. So you got me today. Tomorrow and on Thursday, our guy Riley Swenson is going to be in the big chair. And then on Friday, Isaac Dienison, who you may see on WDAY News on our newscast at 6 and 10, 4 and 5, and 9 o'clock. He will be here on Friday making his Hot Mic debut because I will be on vacation mode as well. So that's coming up later on in the week. But in the meantime, we got a lot of business to attend to today. It's good to be back. It was here a couple of weeks ago filling in for Dom. It's good to be back in here. Always a fun time. I hope everybody got through the weather last night. I got nothing out where I'm at in West Fargo. Our guy Robert Pointer was showing me all the aftermath of what happened yesterday. And, man, I hope everybody is okay after all that because it looked gnarly in parts. So hopefully everybody's all right. And start to the morning today is a solid one, so we'll take that as the recovery. But I got nothing. I had no idea it was storming if I wasn't watching the news, if I was just looking out of my balcony. I think we have, with that being said, all fully recovered from this last weekend, a full weekend of golf at the Bell Bank Red River Amateur Championships out in Moorhead. That was just an awesome time to be out there. Thanks to everybody who tuned into that on WDAY Extra and WDAY Plus. Luckily, over the weekend, the weather corresponded. It was great. We had a couple rain showers here and there, but it was nothing to derail anything. It's such a fun event. One of my favorite events of the year. I'm so happy I'm able to be a part of that because just to see the level of golf, local golf talent in our area is so awesome to see. In my mind, it's comparable to going to a PGA Tour event. That's in my mind. Yeah, you'll get a couple of errant shots, a couple of bad putts, but I think it's right up there with if you go to the 3M. If you missed it, be sure to check it out next year. You can watch it back as well on Inform.com. I know Dom showed you some of the highlights yesterday with Kathryn VanArragon and Carter White winning, both on the women's and men's side. We're going to chat more about this weekend coming up later on in the show with Kathryn VanArragon from the University of St. Thomas. She's going into her senior year, one for the second year in a row. She's going to join us to help wrap up the show this morning at 10:35. So looking forward to that conversation. Also this morning, our guy Mike McFeely is going to stop by at his usual time of 9:30. Plenty going on to get his thoughts on, including North Dakota State officially becoming an FBS member. That is tomorrow. Some other news around NDSU athletics, and we haven't seen him for a while. I got to get his thoughts on the LaMelo Ball trade for the Minnesota Timberwolves as well. So Mike McFeely coming up at the bottom of this hour in about 25 minutes or so. And also later on this morning to start the second hour of the show, we're going to hear from the new assistant coach for North Dakota State baseball. It's a familiar name in Andy Young, the former West Fargo standout who went on to play college ball at Jamestown, Neosho Community College, and then Indiana State, and then went on to do some pretty cool things in the big leagues. And now he's back home putting in work for his hometown college. So we will hear from Andy coming up to start the second hour of the show today. So a lot going on. All that is coming up this morning. Speaking of baseball, let's get right into what we saw last night. Let's get a Twins update on the morning, shall we? Yesterday, the Minnesota Twins back in action after a series win against Colorado. They were in Houston yesterday, kicking off a 3-game stretch. If you missed it, here's a look at what happened. Houston wearing some throwback uniforms yesterday. I was a big fan of those. Here's how the game started. In the top of the 4th, Royce Lewis at the plate, and he goes yard. That's a great sign for Minnesota Twins fans. That's his 8th homer of the season. It went 375 feet. Looked like he could have gone longer than that. He went 1 for 4 on the day, so take his plate appearance with a grain of salt, but that home run was a big start to the ball game. Also in the 4th, former Astro Victor Caratini follows up Lewis with a home run of his own to the deepest part of the ball field in far center. I don't know how this ball got out. Turned on a high pitch, and it floated over the wall. So Victor Caratini is on the board. 2-0 Twins, but Houston would get one back. Cam Smith with the drive over to left field in the bottom of the 5th. That would make it a 2-1 game. Crushed that one. That ball was sent. So things are getting interesting as we move on to the top of the 6th. Josh Bell at the plate. A 2-run moonshot. If you liked home runs, watching the Twins lately, and especially last night, that was the game for you to watch. Plenty of long balls in that game. Josh Bell hits another. Twins are up 4-1 at this point. They're cruising. Now we go later on in the ball game. Drive out to left field. Joey Luperfido somehow makes the catch. What a grab out in left field at the warning track. That's an appropriate reaction. Tristan Gray at the plate for Minnesota. That would make it a 4-1 game, save a run from going across the board. Now we go to the bottom of the 9th, and this is where things get dicey. Taylor Trammell gives the Astros a fighting chance here with a homer, a 2-run shot through the foul pole in right field. Oh, no, it's 5-3. The bullpen, are they letting us down again? Now with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. Cam Smith at the plate again. Takes it to left center, and it clears the wall. It's 5-4 at this point. Everybody hold on. We got a brand new ball game for Minnesota and Houston. 1-run game at that point. Luckily, Minnesota would get out of a jam. Luperfido, a ground out to second, easy flip, and the Twins would get the win 5-4, but not with some theatrics at the end. Minnesota now 41-45 on the season. They're 19-22 in road games. 8 hits in total on the game. Zebby Matthews, another phenomenal outing. If you take a look at Zebby Matthews over the last couple of months, really impressive. 8 out of his last 9 starts, he's gone 6 or more innings with almost a strikeout an inning. He had 7 last night. Peter Lambert getting the loss for Houston, 5 2/3. Giving up 4 earned runs in the game. Plenty of homers. Let me count them up here. 3 for Minnesota last night. Royce Lewis, Caratini, and Josh Bell leaving the yard, and Houston with 3 of their own as well. So Minnesota now, when you look at the standings in the AL Central, you have the Chicago White Sox at the top, 44-39 on the season. But within reach is Cleveland, and Minnesota's 4.5 games back. They're 3.5 back of Cleveland as well. In the wild card, Minnesota is now 2 games back of that spot. Of course, they're coming off of that sweep against the Dodgers. They got the win over Colorado, the series win, I should say. Now they have Houston. After they wrap up this series, they will head off to New York over the holiday weekend, which should be interesting. And for those that are wondering, and I was wondering the same, I wrote it down, Twins are now 9th in the MLB in homers this season with 107. The Yankees, obviously, the Bronx Bombers leading that category with 122. So the series after this one will be interesting. We'll hear from Corey Provis later on this week on Friday. Isaac will have the opportunity to chat with him, get the latest on what's happening with the Minnesota Twins. Some interesting news to note as we get closer to the All-Star break. The pitching staff for Minnesota, more specifically the bullpen, they're going to take a hit through the All-Star break, which is coming up here rather soon, the 13th through the 16th of July. Anthony Banda, who's been one of the few bright spots out of the bullpen for Minnesota, was placed on the 15-day injured list with a left lat strain. Now, for those of you that know me, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, and I'm not great at anatomy, but I'm pretty sure, where's the lat? Is that behind you? Is that in the shoulder? Let's get a research team on that. That would be great. He suffered that injury on Sunday against the Rockies, threw a pitch, and then beamed a batter and immediately left the game. And as I mentioned, Banda's been one of the only good arms out of the bullpen this year. Minnesota, they are dead last in bullpen ERA in the MLB with an ERA of 5.45 this season. We saw it on full display yesterday with Zebby Matthews having a great run, bringing the bullpen, and then Houston makes it a close game. And also a thing to note, that's a lefty arm that they're not going to have in the bullpen down the stretch. The Twins are calling up Cody Lawyerson to take his place. He's moving up from St. Paul. So we'll see how much that Banda situation makes a difference with the All-Star break, as I mentioned, the 13th through the 16th, so coming up in a couple of weeks. Speaking of the All-Star break, the All-Star voting is down to the final 2 days as well, in case you were wondering about that. I was looking it up last night, and the name that's leading the AL All-Star voting caught me off guard. I don't follow Toronto Blue Jays baseball all that closely, but Ernie Clement is the top vote getter in the AL right now, which I thought was rather interesting. So he's quickly becoming a fan favorite up there in Toronto, and of course he's got all of Canada behind his back as well. And Buxton is one of the top vote getters in the outfield, obviously, to become an all-star starter in that game coming up in a couple of weeks. For Minnesota tonight against Houston, we'll give you a reminder when we get into our What to Watch later on. 7:10 first pitch. You can catch it on Twins TV. Joe Ryan gets the nod on the bump today against Mike Burrows. Ryan this season 5-4 with a 3.18 ERA and 93 1/3 innings pitched. So we'll see if Minnesota can continue to tick away at the AL Central standings with the White Sox in action today as well. All right, so that's what's happening with the Twins. We'll get you more updates on them throughout the week. Again, a reminder, Riley Swenson in studio tomorrow and on Thursday. Isaac Dienison will talk with Corey Provis on Friday. Also last night, a busy, busy night in the World Cup. Now, as you may remember from a couple weeks ago, I am no World Cup savant. I did have my ears perked up to some of the outcomes yesterday because actually we had some pretty intriguing matchups yesterday in the knockout stage of the World Cup. We are in the round of 32 right now, and the winners advance to the round of 16. Here's what happened yesterday in a trio of really intriguing games. We start with Germany and Paraguay, and bear with me, I'm going to do my best to say everybody's name correctly, but I'm going to get them wrong. That's Kai Havertz for Germany, getting the header to tie the game at 1 apiece. Now we go into extra time in this knockout matchup. Jonathan Tah for Germany gets the header, but we would go to a VAR review, and they would call it off. Goalkeeper contact, so no goal. We continue on. And eventually, we would go into penalty kicks. A penalty kick shootout, which in my opinion is just one big old guessing game for the goalkeeper. But I digress. Paraguay getting shut down there. Germany needing a goal here. This is Tah sending it over the top. Couldn't redeem himself after the header. And then Jose Canala for Paraguay, with the weight of the country on his shoulder, picks a top right corner, and Paraguay stuns the Germans, one of the favorites in this World Cup competition, to move on to the round of 16. Congratulations to Paraguay. They came out of the same pool as the United States. And another contest yesterday, an exciting one between Brazil and Japan. Brazil, to my understanding, another favorite in this competition. They get a header there. Game is tied up at 1. Then in extra time, sneaks off of the post and in. That was Gabriel Martinelli with the game-winning goal. And Brazil just gets by Japan 2-1. And they will take on the winner of the Ivory Coast and Norway, who will see each other on the pitch later on tonight. The other exciting matchup was the Netherlands and Morocco. 72nd minute were scoreless, but that would change as the Dutch would get on the board first with Cody Hakpo getting the goal, beating multiple defenders. Now in the 91st minute, we're tied at 1 after that one sneaks through for Morocco. What an incredible save there in the extra time, and this game would result in a penalty kick shootout as well. And we had drama in this one. Everybody's hitting the crossbar, hitting the pipes. It was kind of ugly to watch at first. That one snuck through past the Dutch goalkeeper, and then this was the goal to win it for Ismail Saibari, getting the win. And that's where we stand after the events yesterday. Morocco getting the win, and they will move on to the round of 16. Paraguay will face the winner of France and Sweden. They will go at it today at 4 o'clock. All these games are on Fox. Teams that have moved on to the round of 16 already, Canada and Morocco. That game will be played on the 4th of July at noon. Also, as we showed you, Brazil moving on. They await the Ivory Coast and Norway outcome. The United States, they're in action pretty soon. Coming up tomorrow, they will play Bosnia-Herzegovina. Couldn't point to Bosnia-Herzegovina on a map, but I have seen they travel very well with their fans. I was doing some research into this contest to get ready for tomorrow, and I found out that the U.S. are heavy favorites in this one. The betting odds, from what I saw last night when I looked, were minus 250 in favor of the Americans. Now, this is the first knockout round appearance, I should say, for Bosnia-Herzegovina. The U.S., they have lost 4 straight knockout matches. So for all the soccer fans that are thinking this year's the year, they're going to make it to the round of 16, I think they have a good shot. I'm going to knock on wood before I say that, but I think things are trending upwards for the United States. If they move on, they will await the winner of Belgium and Senegal. And that game is coming up on July 1st at 3 o'clock as well. USA, they're ranked 15th in the FIFA rankings. Bosnia is 61st. So you have to imagine this is like a 2 versus 15 matchup in the March Madness bracket. That's what I'm going to compare it to. They're playing in San Francisco. I was looking at the tickets last night. I think the cheapest one is like $1,500, which is, to me, that's a lot of money to drop on a knockout round matchup. But that's just me, someone who's not the biggest soccer fan in the world. Someone who is, Drew Trafton, who went to a United States game out in Seattle the other day, or the other week, I should say. He will be in the studio tomorrow to give you a full preview of what's going on with the World Cup, what to expect as we get through the round of 16, and get you ready for this USA-Bosnia-Herzegovina matchup coming up tomorrow. So that's what to expect then. That's all I got on the World Cup. I hope I did adjust it, but that's all I got cooking for me right now. My pick to win is still the United States. They're not supposed to win, but they're still my pick to win. I will be watching tomorrow night. I'm sure a good portion of the country, whether they're soccer fans or not, are going to be watching tomorrow night, and you can tack me into that column. All right, enough soccer talk for today. We'll have more tomorrow. Let's get into our guest lineup. As I mentioned earlier this morning, 3 great guests joining us today. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Mike McFeely from the Forum will join us had some time off last week. Plenty to catch up on with Mike McFeely coming up at 9:35. Then at 10 o'clock, starts the second hour of the show. The newest Bison assistant baseball coach, Andy Young, will join us. Talk about how this opportunity came up, and we'll also reminisce on some memories from his playing career as well. And then at 10:35, Kathryn VanArragon from the University of St. Thomas, coming off of her win at the Bell Bank Red River Amateur Championships at the Moorhead Country Club. She will join us at the bottom of the second hour of the show, help wrap things up, talk about her big weekend and how she was able to pull off her second consecutive win at the Red River Am. So that's coming up later on this morning. Let's take a break. Before Mike gets in, want to chat about the NBA a little bit. We had a big trade that went on. We'll speculate on what the Timberwolves may do and also some other news happening around the NBA as well. That's coming up when Hot Mike returns on WDAY Extra. Welcome back on this beautiful Tuesday morning. Much more promising look at the tower cam compared to what we got yesterday. If you were watching the show yesterday, you saw all the rain being dumped down. Where was that, guys? Wapaton yesterday morning? Oh, it looked treacherous over there. And hopefully, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, hopefully everybody got through those storms yesterday. We were talking about the weather earlier this morning, and Ben, who's back in the control room over there, was telling me that some wind gusts were around 130 miles an hour in parts of the Midwest here. So that's scary stuff. So hopefully everybody is okay after that. Luckily, the weather looks good today. A reminder, Mike McFeely joining us in just a couple of minutes here on this Tuesday morning. Before we get to him, wanted to turn our attention over to the NBA because this week is a big week to keep an eye on what is happening in the NBA offseason. Of course, free agency starts today. The bell rings at 5 o'clock this evening, and I'm a huge fan of NBA free agency. I think that's one of the more exciting off seasons in professional sports in the United States because you get big movement, big money, big names moving all over the place. I think it's really fun to follow along with. Now, yesterday, before we got to the whole free agency spiel today, there was another big name in the league that got traded, and that was Ja Morant, who's now being shipped off from Memphis over to Portland. And the deal is Ja Morant to the Blazers in exchange for Jeremy Grant, who I was a big fan of when he was at Notre Dame, and also Chris Murray. Now, that doesn't seem like quite the trade-off for a guy like Ja Morant, but he has really had a fall from grace over the last couple of years with suspensions and injuries, so it makes sense that there was no picks really involved in this trade or not. We'll see how it works out for Portland, but if you missed it, that was the big one that was reported by Shams yesterday. In the NBA. Timberwolves, they made their big trade. They got LaMelo Ball. Now the question is, what are they going to do when 5 o'clock today comes around? Are they going to do anything? Are they going to try to get some key pieces? Julius Randle and Naz Reid, they are now gone. We'll see you later. So the obvious answer, in my opinion, is that this team needs some big men, specifically power forward, that can help with some depth. Now, I was looking into it last night, and to get into the wild world and the fun world of contracts and roster rebuilding restrictions and aprons that come with free agency, long story short, what I gathered is that the Timberwolves don't have a lot of room to work with when it comes to this free agency window. So really, they can only go for, to my understanding, a minimum level player. And if they sign their second-round pick that they got just the other week, they'll have 11 guys on the team, and they need to have about 14 or 15 before opening night. So, long story short, don't expect a big name, especially at the power forward position, to come in through free agency. If I had to guess, I would imagine that the Twins will have to get tricky when dealing with the salary and whatnot. They'll have to get tricky in some trades. Josh Green, who has an expiring contract, who just came over from Charlotte as a part of the LaMelo deal, I would imagine is not going to be in Minnesota for too long. So maybe hold off on buying his jersey. And we'll see what Minnesota does, but they definitely need some depth, especially at the power forward position. They have some at the center position, but now with Julius and Nas gone, it really puts a hole there. The backcourt looks great with LaMelo and Anthony Edwards, there's no doubt. Another thing to note over the next couple of days for Minnesota, Mike Conley, Bones Highland, and Kyle Anderson, they all need new contracts. So those are 3 to look out for. From what I've been seeing and reading up on, I don't believe Mike Conley is going to be in a Minnesota uniform for too extremely long. I think the Heat are high on him right now. To me, it makes sense that they do go after Bones Highland and especially Kyle Anderson to keep some power forward depth in there at all. So I feel like signing new deals for them would make sense. But we will see over the next couple of days. The other big buzz right now to look out for this week is that the Golden State Warriors are trying to make some moves. They just signed Kristaps Porzingis to 2 more years yesterday, and now they're trying to make waves towards LeBron James and Anthony Davis and maybe get another super team in the works over there. So that would be interesting. I'm not a huge fan of super teams, but Golden State tends to do very well when they try to stack the deck in their favor with that. So there is an opportunity this week that LeBron James, it depends on who you ask, one of the best basketball players of all time, may be on the move again and potentially find his next landing spot, which may be his last in Golden State. So we will see. Try to keep you updated on other big NBA free agency news as it comes along over this next week. With that being said, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll chat a little bit more about the NBA, especially LaMelo Ball, with our guy Mike McFeely. Also, plenty of other topics to touch on with Mike. He'll join us in studio next.
Oh, it's Mr. McFeely.
I have seen the future, and he was wearing number 5, and I ain't talking about Robbie Grimsley, folks.
Took out the muffins, took out the trail mix, took out the cookies. They stole the monster cookies.
Wow, that's awesome. That is so awesome. Let's do some broadcasting. Yeah.
Mike's appearance on Hot Mike is brought to you by Sunset Lanes of Moorhead.
He's back. Mike McFeely joining us as he does each and every Tuesday. Conversation brought to you by Sunset Lanes. Good to see you. Long time no see.
Yeah.
How you been?
Had a couple days off.
Yeah.
And didn't do much, which is just fine. And
perfect time to do that.
Took last week off from this program, so I won't get paid for last week's non-appearance.
So, well, I'll make sure the higher-ups know about that.
Yeah. And well, no, don't. Well, if you're going to pay me for it, then that's fine. But little inside joke there, folks.
Well, good deal. Well, I'm going to pop quiz you here and see if you were following along with everything over the last week while you were gone. I know you were an elite bowling mind. I know you're a great golf mind as well.
Yes.
Did you catch up on the Red River Am last week at all?
I did. I saw the kid from NDSU had like a 12-shot lead or something going into the final round, and then just kind of got to the finish line, which that's going to happen. I followed that a little bit online, and it's good. It's a fun tournament. It's a high-level amateur local tournament.
Yeah, what'd you make of all the talent out there? NDSU's got some good golfers that have gone through. Ryland Petrie won it the other year, set a course record. Now Carter White does it again, setting a course record.
Yeah, and this is not a shot at those young men. They're fantastic golfers, but, I mean, remember that they went, so as good as they are, and they're fantastic, remember that they went to the NCAA regional down in was it Scottsdale or Tucson or something? And they were not close to what. And that's a different time of year because it's in the spring and they never play outside here, obviously for obvious reasons. They're going up against schools where the kids are playing 12 months out of the year with the elite facilities and all those things. But just, these kids are great. Shooting 63 on any golf course is fantastic. But, I mean, that just shows the gap again between the Power Fours and the mid-majors.
It definitely does.
In every sport in college.
There's
athletics.
no doubt. To get there, that was a win. And to speaking with the team prior to their trip to Arizona in that regional competition, the hope was to upset just a couple of those big schools. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. But I think that program is trending in the right direction.
And that's the thing. We've talked about this all the time, but that's the thing with mid-majors or schools from the Summit League or the Mountain West is you're not going to be able to compete likely once you get to the NCAA tournament, whatever sport that is.
Yep.
And so the championship is winning the Summit League.
Yeah.
Or winning the Mountain West.
Right.
That's going to be the championship. And it has been for men's basketball. It's odd to me, and I've said this for 5, 6, 10 years now, is one of the hang-ups of NDSU football fans is, well, we're not going to be able to win a national championship. And that's fine. Mm-hmm. That's a legit question or concern, I guess. But nobody seems to have that problem with Summit League basketball.
Right.
Right? I mean,
right.
The NDSU men's basketball program and the SDSU men's basketball program have been excellent. All of their time in Division I, all of their time in the Summit League. The Bison, I think, have been to, 5 or 6 NCAA men's basketball tournaments. The Jackrabbits, a similar number. Nobody brings up the fact that they have no chance to win a national championship.
Right.
And actually, with the way things are going now in college sports, with the transfer portal,
even less of a chance.
I think you have even less of a chance to win a game at the NCAA tournament.
Yes, at the national competition.
I mean, NDSU had a nice Summit League team this year. Dave Richmond got the contract. Kudos to him. Congratulations. He put together a real good Summit League team for what the Summit League is and what it is right now. I thought, well, okay, they're going to get to the tournament in Buffalo. They're going to have a chance to be competitive for a half. You know, it'll be a 15-point spread at halftime. Maybe they can hang in the second half and keep it, under 30. It was from the start. It was just a cascade of a tsunami.
Right.
And I'm sitting there courtside at the KeyBank Center going, wow, this isn't even remotely
it's NBA
close.
It's NBA talent against Summit League best.
And I've seen that before because I've seen NDSU play Duke. I've seen them play Kansas. I've seen all these. But, I just think that that's going to be an issue going forward in the NCAA basketball tournament, and probably more so now because now it's up to 230 teams they're letting in or whatever it's going to be. But that's the part that sort of, and I was on a couple of Michigan State radio shows or fan blogs or vlogs, whatever they call them. And I said, I think NDSU will compete for the first half. I don't think it's going to be like a whitewash right from the start. I was wrong. It was a whitewash right from the start.
It's a real deal. Michigan State's the real deal. Those are surefire guys that are going to make an impact at the NBA level. And, North Dakota State, here and there, they'll have a guy go on and make a run at trying to get to the professional ranks. But those are guys that are for sure going to be there, and they have the money and resources to get guys in the transfer portal. You mentioned Dave getting the contract extension, Jory getting one as well. Those are two big keeps for NDSU basketball programs.
Yeah, they are. And Jory, they both have ways to get out if they want to get out. I don't think there's a buyout on Richmond's contract, and I think Jory's buyout's like $20,000 or something. It's not much, if I recall. And so they're good keeps, and that's what athletic directors do: is you try to keep your coaches under multiple year contracts, so that they can tell recruits allegedly that I'm going to be here in 4 years, even though, again, if somebody comes calling, they both can leave. But it's good. Jory, I think when he got here, however long ago it's been, I don't know if he viewed himself as being here for the long term. I think, and this is a great spot to go from A to B to C.
Right.
But he's been here for quite a while now, and I think he has the team that's going to be picked to win the Summit League this year. Whether they do that or not, it's a whole different story. But I think they're going to be picked to win the league. And if he can get to the tournament, that burnishes his resume if he still desires to go someplace else, or if he desires to go someplace else at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, we talked about, I know Dom and Jeff talked about it a little bit yesterday, but Jory is at a good, yes, he's gone through the transfer portal and gotten some good players, Josh E. Schiller being one of them, and gotten players to help bolster depth. Dave's really adapted to the transfer portal lifestyle here, and I know that's tough at this level.
Yeah, and we talked about this for a while here, but Dave did not like the changing landscape of college sports, 5 years ago or whatever. And he and I had conversations about that, as he has with others as well. But I think at some point, if you want to stay in the profession, if you don't want to go sell insurance or sell real estate or whatever you're going to do besides coach basketball, you're going to have to adapt to what the world is.
Right.
The same way that people in the media business have had to adapt to what our world is now.
Yeah.
I mean, trust me.
Changing quick.
Things are much different in the newspaper industry and in the TV industry, I assume, than they were 40 years ago when I first got in it. I mean, there's nothing resembling that world, basically, in the newspaper business. So my choice, I can either gripe and piss and moan about it, or I can make the adjustment and go out.
Adapt or die,
It's still better than digging ditches.
Right.
And so, Dave Richmond's choice was to adapt or dig ditches, and he adapted.
And it's working out well. Again, both Dave and Jory getting those 5-year contract extensions through the 2030-31 season. Since we're on the topic of basketball, and we didn't have you on last week, LaMelo Ball to Minnesota. What was your reaction to that? Are they a championship team now?
What? Come
Why
on,
not?
come
They
on.
got the big
Come
name.
on.
They got the guy to help
Come
in.
on,
Isn't
no.
it?
If he's on the floor for more than 20 games.
That's fair. That's a good point.
Last year he played, 70, 65 games last year? Was the first.
Something
he
like
played
that,
more games. Here's the stat that I heard. He played more games last year in Charlotte than he had in the previous 2 or 3 years combined. So it's a big swing for Tim Conley. I don't know that it's going to be the panacea or the be-all, end-all for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Naz Reid is Naz Reid. He's a fan favorite.
Yeah, right. He's a local legend. But
I think that you're taking a chance on alienating a good portion of your fan base because Naz Reid is so important to them.
Yep.
And maybe that can't factor in to trying to win basketball games, but I don't know that LaMelo Ball is the answer. He needs the ball. All the cliches you've heard, he needs the ball in his hands 75% of the time, just like Anthony Edwards does.
Yep.
He's not a great three-point shooter. He's unreliable in terms of his health. He's unreliable perhaps in other areas as well. Is he mature enough? All the questions that you've heard and read are all the ones that I had when I saw the trade.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree. So Wolves championship contender, not the headline coming from you.
I don't think it is from anybody, is it? I
don't know. You get a big name. You think somebody's got to think they're going to win this thing.
But is LaMelo Ball? Is he? He's not like
they needed a point guard.
He's not like a. No, I'm not disagreeing with that. Yes, they did.
Yeah.
But you say big name. Is he Jaylen Brown? Big name? Is he?
No. Speaking of Jaylen Brown,
Ja Morant is a train wreck, but is he Ja Morant? Big name? I don't.
I think so now. I think so now. Ja's he's fallen off the last couple of years. I think LaMelo has. Outside of what you mentioned, he has risen slightly, but I think that might take the cake over Ja. But I'm not an NBA expert by any means. Is your guy Jaylen Brown moving anywhere? Have you looked into that?
It sure seems like they're shopping him around, which I don't understand totally, but we'll see what Brad Stevens has to say about that if it happens. That's a really strange one. I don't understand that one at all.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
That would be interesting. All right, so we got our basketball and golf talk out of the way. Let's break. When we come back, we'll chat about North Dakota State football and some more big news out of that. Tomorrow's a big day, officially a part of the FBS. Get Mike's thoughts on that when we come back. Hot Mike returns after this. Welcome back on this Tuesday morning edition of Hot Mike. Sam Getzinger filling in for Dom Izzo. Mike McFeely back with us as he is on his usual time slot on Tuesday mornings. Tomorrow is a big day. Is it a pop the champagne kind of day for North Dakota State football?
I did it. I popped the champagne on the show.
You did?
After the...
Might need to stop in tomorrow. You don't want to come back in?
No, we're good there. I'll do a vertical video of
good,
that. How about
good.
that?
I've been loving your vertical videos, by the way.
Because those
fishing and going to drag races.
That's the hot thing now, I guess, in the internet world among young people are vertical videos. So
absolutely.
I'll crack a bottle of Grain Belt Premium tomorrow.
Oh, good.
And tip it and say, there you go. The NDSU is officially in the Mountain West Conference, which I pushed for 6 years to the point that people were telling me to knock it off because they were bored with it, and I just told them to shut up and read it and learn. And it's happening tomorrow.
Yeah, and you were right. We had Dom had Derek Lang on the show yesterday talk about 701 Day that's coming up tomorrow, hoping to reach 701 unique donors and get to 10 million in matching donations. It's a big fundraising day for North Dakota State tomorrow.
It is, and I'm assuming that they won't have a problem getting to 701 donations. Because the minimum's $5. It's not like
right.
They'll be calling people at 10 o'clock tomorrow night if they have to tell them to put in $5 to get to 701 donors. But yeah, this whole thing is all about money. Mm-hmm. It's fun for us to talk about the new competition and the possibility of getting in the playoff, or more reasonably this year, I think, getting into a bowl game.
Right.
The travel, all of the different things. Can they, get some different types of players to come to North Dakota State? They apparently will need at certain positions. But it all comes down to money. It's all going to come down to whether they can raise money, and it's not going to be a one-time thing. This isn't going to be like we're just going to do this 1 year. It's going to be ongoing. They want to double their football operating budget from about $8 million to $16 million. And that's just the start.
Chunk of change.
That's just the start. And again, that's ongoing. That's not one time. It's ongoing. And if NDSU wants to do what NDSU wants to do, which is to compete at this level, at least within the group of 6 for that college football playoff spot, they're not going to stop at $16 million for a budget. They're going to have to probably get closer to 20, because that's where UNLV and other schools are in the group of 6. And so it's the never-ending story that's going to just be ongoing.
Yeah, and that $17 million, whatever it was, buy-in to get into the Mountain West and the FBS level, that was a big part of the reason why the postseason eligibility passed while you were gone. I mean, that's a huge win for NDSU. So we'll see how that all squares away. But it's a big chunk of change coming up. Derek said yesterday, scholarships, operations, facility projects, and NIL are the big pillars to the Climb the Mountain campaign. So that's coming up tomorrow.
Yeah, man, I sense I don't run in those circles of people who write the big checks, but I think there's a renewed interest in NDSU football, even from the average people who go to Sunset Lanes or Village Green Golf Course or the Meadows or Edgewood or Hornbachers or whatever. I think that just the change in scenery is at least having people more interested than they were. And I've written this 100 times, and I wrote it again yesterday, but there was clearly a drop-off in enthusiasm and interest the last 5 years. I'd say since the pandemic.
Right.
And whether that was a tipping point or not, I don't know. I think it was trending that way anyway, even before the pandemic. But I think that accelerated people going, do I need to go to the game? I didn't go for that stupid spring season in 2021, and I kind of had fun just going down to the lake or going to play golf or hanging with my family and not going to the game and spending 14 hours at the Fargo Dome tailgating and going to the game and going out afterward. And I think that caught up to NDSU, combined with, I've said this publicly many times, I've written it as well, is I don't know that NDSU marketed itself very well during those glory years. I don't know that they tried to cultivate a new fan base. I think they rode the wave, and I don't think they ever really thought, well, it's going to drop off at some point. And I think that they didn't get new families, new people into the system to buy season tickets. And I think some of that is changing now.
Right.
Just anecdotally, just from having conversations with people, they're saying, it's going to be exciting. It's like the games were so boring when they were playing St. Thomas. I mean, it was, you knew it was going to be 62-7 or whatever the final. You knew there was no question.
Right.
And at least there's going to be some question about whether they're going to beat Jacksonville State or not. They could lose to Jacksonville State to start the season, and that starts a whole nother number of questions as the rest of the schedule awaits them after that. But at least there's some mystery. Now, the question is going to be, are those people that I'm talking to, just the average Joe and the average Jane, when they tell me, hey, this is great, because we don't know if they're going to win or lose, are they being truthful? It's the thing to say,
right?
And it's a great thing to feel. But if NDSU loses to Jacksonville State, and then they lose to Air Force, and I don't know if they're going to lose either of those games, but if they do, and they start off 1-3 or
Right,
whatever,
right.
2-4, whatever the record's going to be, are people going to go, hey, that's okay?
There's no way in my mind.
That's okay. It's fine.
Yep.
It's fine.
Yep.
It's the process. It's the journey.
Right.
I don't think that's going to be the case.
No, I don't think so.
But
and there is a possibility of that happening.
But that's going to be the test. Is
Right.
A lot of people have said, I got so bored watching them win by 6 touchdowns against most of the schools. So I want to see them. Even if they lose, I'll have more fun because it's going to be a close game.
Yep.
I'm not sure I buy that wholly, but we'll see long term.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they'll be fine long term. They'll be fine.
Yep.
They're going to raise the money. They're going to be competitive.
They're going to be in contention
They're
for
gonna
the
be in
bowls
contention
and the
for
playoff
yep.
spots.
I mean, it's
just down the road. It just may not be year one.
I don't know that it's going to be this first year, and then we'll see what they can do after this. Okay. That's the way I'm looking at it. Is this first year for me is a pass. I mean, it's unless they go 2-10, which I don't think is going to happen.
No,
but if they go 7-5, it's like, okay, it's a learning experience. You can't go 7-5 next year, Polsek, but you can go 7-5 this year. And I think people look at it and go, okay, well, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, that would be interesting to follow along, but I agree with you. I'm curious if it doesn't get off on the right foot, what's going to happen there. Tomorrow hits, one more before I let you go. Tomorrow hits, do we close the door on FCS to leave them in the past?
I do personally.
Yeah.
I've checked out of FCS for the last couple months anyway. I don't think. And again, my experience here in Fargo is in Moorhead and West Fargo is I don't think anybody who are Bison fans care anymore about FCS. I'm not going to write about it. I'm not going to. I said my farewell today or yesterday in my column in the paper. It's done. I don't care.
Okay. Well, there we go.
I
Football season coming
don't
up.
think anybody does. Among NDSU fans.
Well, we were talking during the break. It's a news-barren wasteland right now in the FCS. There's not much going on in the offseason. At least at the FBS level, there's plenty to talk about.
There's something going on. I just don't.
Yeah.
I just think that it was the same way when NDSU left Division II 20-some years ago.
Right.
Once they shut the door in Division II, the fans shut the door. I just don't. I don't know how many people are going to care about FCS even. NDSU is going to take up all the oxygen.
Yeah.
In Grand Forks, in Brookings, in Vermilion, everybody's going to be watching NDSU. They'll care about their teams. They'll cheer on their teams.
UND's got a good chance this year. I mean, that's just coming from a non-expert.
Yeah,
but that's same boat. There's big sharks in the water now. Mike, I appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. Are you in town?
Maybe.
All right. We'll see. Dom will be back.
Flip
then.
of a coin.
All right. Good plan. Mike McFeely joining us. Our conversation brought to you by Sunset Lanes this morning. Appreciate it, Mike. Enjoy the rest of your week and happy holidays to you.
Yes, you too.
All righty. Let's take a break. When we come back, the newest North Dakota State Bison baseball assistant coach Andy Young joins us to start the second hour of the show. That's coming up when we come back on WDAY Extra. Thanks.
This is Hot Mike.
Hot Mike.
On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back on this Tuesday morning. Sam Getzinger in for Dom Izzo today. Big thank you to Mike McFeely for joining us for the last half hour. Chat about what's happening in North Dakota State athletics, especially with the football program officially becoming FBS tomorrow. Some other big news announced yesterday with North Dakota State baseball, and that leads us into our next guest, who really needs no introduction for baseball fans locally, but we're going to give him one anyway. West Fargo grad who was the player of the year in North Dakota in 2012, went on to play college ball and off in the MLB, and now he is the newest assistant coach for North Dakota State baseball. It's Andy Young joining us here on this Tuesday morning. Our conversation brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Andy, first of all, congratulations on the news. Give us the backstory of how this opportunity came about.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Sam. So this is kind of a unique story, too. I was actually, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I went and played in Mexico this year. So I was down in Mexico, and I actually ruptured my bicep. So it was a season-ending injury, and I just texted Oaks out of the blue, Tyler Oaks, the head coach, and I said, hey, if there's ever an opportunity to apply for your staff, I would love to coach with you. I'd love to be a part of this program. And I had no idea about if there's going to be an opening, if the assistant coach is going to step down or anything like that. But coincidentally, their other assistant did end up stepping down, and then Oaks was like, hey, like it is open and you can go ahead and apply. And then I went through the interview process, and then like you said yesterday, it got announced publicly that I was taking that position.
That's fantastic. It's all about networking and who you know in this business. There's no doubt about that. Does this feel like a full circle moment for you growing up in West Fargo? Now you're back with the hometown college helping them out on the coaching staff.
Yeah, it does. I think just growing up in Fargo is, you obviously look up to the school. Like everyone, it's the biggest. It feels like the biggest deal in the world. And the school is you go all going to football games, and I think every baseball player in the city wants to go to NDSU. So and I did as well. So I think that I didn't have that opportunity, unfortunately. But now I'm going to be a Bison, and growing up, I think everyone kind of wants to be a Bison. So it's pretty cool to have that kind of, like you said, come full circle.
You mentioned Tyler Oaks, the head coach of this baseball program. What is the relationship like between you and him? Obviously, you knew him beforehand. Just describe what that relationship is like.
Yeah, so, I guess I know him more professionally, just running a great program, right? So winning conferences and going to regional tournaments. So I guess I know him more of just how well he's been doing at North Dakota State for the baseball program. I worked out at North Dakota State a little bit when I was playing in 2021. And so I got to know him a little bit then. But I think that, I guess personally, I'll be in the office tomorrow, and then we'll kind of get going on some of that stuff. But as of now, it's kind of just a professional respect and how well he's been doing at North Dakota State.
So the news comes down, you got the job. Did you take an opportunity to kind of look at the roster and look at what North Dakota State baseball has done over the last couple of years? What are the impressions that you got?
Yeah, definitely. I know they won the conference tournament, I think in 2025, and they had a great run in the regional there. I think they went to Creighton, so I did do a little homework, and some of the guys have been reaching out to me, so I'm kind of trying to put together some names and faces and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely looked into it.
We're watching some highlights from your playing career, and I want to get into that in just a little bit. But coaching, is that something you wanted to get into after your playing career was done, or did it just naturally happen?
I think it was pretty natural, and then I started at Concordia, and I enjoyed it. Like it's really natural to be around baseball players for me, and be in the clubhouse and be in the locker room. So I really enjoyed it, and I like helping the kids out. It was really rewarding, and so it was natural. But I also do really like it, and now it's like obviously you're pursuing it. So no, it's been great.
Was there an adjustment going from a player to the coach that you weren't expecting?
I think I'm always learning, so I think maybe a challenge for all coaches that played is, well, this really worked for me, how I think about it, if it's hitting or infielding. But that's not how it works for everybody. So how do you kind of vocabularize that differently for players that maybe don't think exactly like you? Because everyone's not going to think like you. They're not going to hit like you. They're not going to throw like you. Like, things are going to be different, and how they think about it's going to be different. So how, as a coach, can you, I guess, display that in a bunch of different ways to give athletes ways to be successful? That's not exactly how you did it. You know what I mean? So I think players that turn to coaches, they have to kind of think about, well, this is how it worked for me, but it's not how it's going to work for everyone. So how am I going to translate this differently to different kids?
Right. There's no doubt. How much are you going to, or have you relied on your experience? A lot of these guys want to be in the position that you were in. How much can you help them with the experience that you've picked up along the way?
I think that there's not many situations that they could get into that they couldn't ask me for some sort of advice that I wouldn't have at least some sort of an answer. So I think that I'll help them a lot and stuff like that. If they want to talk about professional baseball or situational stuff in the game, I've seen a lot of situations. So I think that I can help them that way. And then if I don't have a good answer, I think that I have fortunately, I have a ton of amazing coaches that I played for that I could reach out to, and they would definitely have an answer if I can't find a good one.
That's good to hear. Let's talk about your playing career here. Obviously, really fun to watch you, especially for local people around here that follow the baseball scene, and to see what you were able to do. Now that you're into the coaching world, have you had the opportunity to look back and say, hey, I was able to do that. I was able to play professional baseball and have success at that level for a little bit. Has that crossed your mind at all?
No, I don't know. I just, I'm obviously really grateful for my playing career. Like, not many people get to obviously play in the MLB. I think that when you're in it, you don't think like that. Obviously you're trying to compete. I don't know if it's really hit me like that. Like, I haven't thought about that yet,
Right.
It still feels like it's not too far away,
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. How does it feel, though, to be back home? You have your central spot. You mentioned you're at your Concordia and now at North Dakota State, and not have to worry about traveling all over the place like the demands of baseball schedules tend to have.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, I got to catch my son's first T-ball season, and
That's
I think
awesome.
small things like that, and not being on a plane or a bus, and it's actually really, really nice, and watching him kind of run around and him enjoying the game and play a little bit, it was really, really rewarding for me. So I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Did you have a favorite place, favorite location that you would go to during your playing career?
Oh, I thought playing like in San Diego was amazing. I thought just the city of San Diego, the weather's always perfect, and I'd always go. I got to see Matt when I was there, so cool things like that. And then I think just field-wise, I think Wrigley, the fields with history are amazing. San Francisco has some history too, and when you walk through some of those, like, kind of around the clubhouse and stuff, there's a mark on the stadium of some of the people that did it before you that you really appreciate. So I'd say that those ballparks with more history, if it's probably Wrigley and Dodger Stadium, and what was kind of cool about Dodger Stadium too is during COVID, we couldn't all be in the main locker room. So they put a lot of the young guys in the old away locker room, and just to spread everyone out or whatever. And there were so many cool autographs of those old time players, old time Dodgers, and people coming in that it was just like all that history that you normally wouldn't even get to see. But stuff like that I always thought was really cool. And yeah, those ballparks with history, there's just so much there,
That's awesome. That's really interesting stuff. And I'm always curious about this. When you got up to the professional ranks, was there anything surprising when you got up there that maybe you weren't ready for, or just the lifestyle or how they handled things at that level?
They make it pretty easy. The Diamondbacks did a really good job of onboarding rookies in a way where, I mean, I think the media is a lot at the big market teams, and going into New York or LA, and just how many reporters and just how big the media is, the media rooms and all that stuff. You don't see that really. I never saw that in college, and you never see that in the minor leagues. You kind of do a little bit, but not like that. But the Diamondbacks, again, they kind of prep you for it a little bit. So it is a lot, and it is kind of shocking, but that is the biggest difference. And like I said, they do a great job of preparing you for it, but you can't really prepare for some of that stuff,
How hard was the transition going from Arizona back up to North Dakota with the winters and everything?
Oh man, I've done so many winters in North Dakota that it's not.
It was a breeze.
North Dakota winters are never a breeze, but
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
But I don't mind the cold.
Again, Andy Young joining us. Our conversation brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. He is the newest Bison baseball assistant coach. West Fargo grad as well. I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Have you kept up with what's been happening in West Fargo baseball, not just at your alma mater, but with Cheyenne and Horace? The level of talent over on that side of town has really taken the state and most of the Midwest by storm. Have you followed along with that at all?
Oh yeah, definitely. I graduated with Jordan Rowe, who's running the Legion program over there, and I think they've won 4 out of the last 5 state championships, and and they're combining the West Fargo High, the Cheyenne, and the Horace kids. So then you get to know those kids a little bit from the Legion program, and then you watch the high school program. So I've been watching pretty closely. They've been having a ton of success. So that's been really cool. And kudos to the West Fargo baseball program for developing these kids and winning a ton of games. So they're doing a great job.
And there's been a great history of that as well. One of your former teammates, Matt Strom, still in the league. Do you keep in touch with him at all?
Yeah, actually, I saw his dad the other day at T-ball, so I got a little bit of the rundown on Matt. So yeah, we keep up, and I mean, Matt I think he's getting close to 10 years in MLB, which is an unbelievable accomplishment. So once he hits that mark, I'll surely send him a text and congratulate him. That's extremely rare.
I got a couple more questions before I let you go. I had an email come in. Tell us what it was like to play baseball in Mexico. What was that experience like for you?
Mexican baseball is so fun. Like, it is so the energy is so high everywhere you go. It's really, really unique. They will, like, the fans will come in with like noisemakers and there's bands, and it's just so unique, and it's hard to describe a little bit, but it's a really, really, really fun brand of baseball, and I'm really happy that I got to experience that for a little bit.
Yeah, that's really interesting that you got the opportunity to do that. That's super cool. I love an energetic crowd, which you definitely get down there. Before I let you go back to the coaching side of things, we were talking off air before you get on. From the time that you played college athletics to right now, the landscape has changed a lot with rules and regulations and whatnot. Do you have to kind of refresh yourself on all that before you get into this new role?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'll have to learn and relearn as much as I possibly can. I think the NCAA, they've changed a lot too. So I think a lot of the regulations are probably different since when I played. But I'll absolutely have to learn the rules and regulations of the NCAA. I know it's a strict organization. It was when I went through it, and then it's going to be different. So you have to relearn probably every year, and I'll definitely have to start from scratch almost.
Well, I think a lot of coaches are doing exactly the same. Andy, I appreciate you taking some time this morning. Best of luck with the new position, and we'll see you around soon.
Yep. Thank you, Sam.
Absolutely. Andy Young joining us. Conversation brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Great to catch up with him as he gets ready to become the newest Bison baseball assistant coach. The deal came down the other day, signed, sealed, and delivered. What a great resume he has put together. You talked about all the connections that he has. It's going to be great for North Dakota State baseball. A team that has fallen victim, if you will, to the new landscape of college athletics. They have that great season a couple of years back where they make it to a regional tournament opportunity. They win a game. They have stud players, and then next thing you know, the transfer portal comes around, and those players who were the stars, they're off at the Power Fours, the SECs, the Big Tens, you name it, and doing big things over there. And they kind of starting the roster over from, I wouldn't say all the way scratch in a sense, but that's the life of mid-major. They go from that fantastic season to 13 and 32 last year, and hopefully they can turn it around this season. I know they've gotten a couple of portal guys over the last couple of months, and we'll see about those additions coming up in the next calendar year. We got a long way to go for that. But again, congratulations to Andy Young. I know a lot of people tied to the program very happy with that news. A lot of recruits coming in very happy with that news as well. So it's great to see Andy has the opportunity to stay back home. With that being said, let's take another break. When we come back, a lot more to get to. Reminder for you, Kathryn VanArragon joining us at the bottom of the hour. Chat about her win at the Bell Bank Red River Amateur Championship over the weekend. That's coming up at 10:35. We'll have more on Hot Mic when we come back. Welcome back. Hot Mic on this Tuesday morning. Thanks for joining us, however you are. WDAY Extra, KSFL TV in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Rapid City, also streaming on Inform.com. Great to be back in the chair for today. I am on for the rest of the week. We'll have a couple other guys that Riley Swenson, Isaac Genison, joining us later on this week to help out on the show. Big thank you to Andy Young for joining us, and congratulations once again to him for becoming the newest North Dakota State Bison assistant baseball coach. He will join Tyler Oaks in that program, hopefully turn some things around after their year last year and have some more success in the Summit League. Looking forward to seeing what that group can do. Now, I was scrolling along during the commercial break, and it sparked my reminder, and this all came out over the weekend while we were out on the golf course at the Red River Amateur Championship. And I know we've talked about it on the show over the last couple of months, and I know I did when I was hosting the other week, but the college football video game is getting real close, folks. We're almost to July 1. The game comes out on July 9th, if I'm not mistaken. And it's going to cost about, $70, something like that, to get the standard edition. I'm excited for it. If you watch the show and see me talk about it, you know my allegiance to the college football video game. I love the thing. I'm a big fan of it. The other day, it has been put out there, the North Dakota State, you can see the 2 uniforms they have in their collection available on the college football video game, and we get some of our first looks of that with the yellow on yellow look and the new alternate look that they had last year as well with the gold and white. So that's a look at what's going on in the college football video game, which I think is pretty neat. And I know Dom talks about uniforms all the time, but there's a look at what the college football video game is going to look like when it comes out in late July. I was talking with Mike about this earlier this morning, just how much the landscape of video games has changed. He tweeted out a picture of what the old electronic video games used to look like, and we've come a long way. So I'm really looking forward to this game coming out. Now, also what came out over the weekend, and I'm not sure if Dom touched on it yesterday or not, but the rankings of the ratings for all the players came out, and I thought this was interesting. Griffin Empey is the highest rated guy if you're getting ready to load up the game and play this one. He's an 87 overall, leading the way for North Dakota State. DJ Scott at 83 and Keenan Wilson at 80 as well. So those are your top 3 guys for NDSU football that are going to be the highest rated players in the college football video game. And if you're thinking about the quarterback, Nathan Hayes, he is down at a 74 rating going into the college football video game. I know it's been a hot topic of everybody who's going to go around. I know I'll be hot on it, and I think Dom has said he's going to want to play with this as well, or play the game as well. So I'm excited for that opportunity when it comes around. But that's the latest on North Dakota State and the college football video game as they get ready to become an FBS member starting tomorrow. And you can look at those ratings on the college football video game website if you're really curious about it. But there's a first look at what some of the new uniform combos look like and some of the ratings there as well. Now, before Dom left on vacation as well, he put out an article that you can find on Inform.com, and I find this to be rather interesting. It's about the Mountain West Conference, and they have decided to axe their preseason poll this season. So if you're looking for that coming into the new college football year, if you're looking for a preseason poll out of the Mountain West, don't get too excited. It's not coming. Now, Dom explains in his article that the conference says because of realignment, transfer portal, the changing landscape of college athletics, they're just simply not going to put out a preseason poll, which I'm okay with. You know, preseason poll is about as useful and is worth about as much as the paper it's printed on. I know some guys use it as motivation here and there. It's not a great representation of what's going to happen for the rest of the season, but at least it gets you excited for the upcoming year. But that's not going to be the case for the Mountain West. Instead, what they are going to do is they are going to select a 28-person all-conference team. So we'll be on the lookout for that. It's going to happen during the league's media day, which we will be at in Vegas on July 15th. Looking forward to that trip. Coach Polasek and about 4 other guys are going to be there as well, and the rest of the Mountain West. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks in the middle of July. I'm interested to see who the all-conference team is, how many North Dakota State guys are going to be on the all-conference list, despite not playing in a Mountain West game in their career as of yet. That's going to be an interesting decision to piece together. The conference is also going to announce an offensive, defensive, and special teams preseason player of the year as well. So we'll see who that is. College football season, it's right around the corner. Dom's got to vote for all of this, so if you want a name on there, you might have to email him, schmooze him to send in your pick. I don't know how that all works. But no preseason poll this year in the Mountain West. We will get a preseason all-conference team. College football season's right around the corner. We got to get through this week, which is essentially a barren wasteland of sports. You got the NBA free agency happening now, the World Cup, Wimbledon. Besides that, not a ton happening. WNBA happening as well, and the Twins. Not a ton happening on a daily basis. But next thing you know, college football season and the NFL football season and all those talks with camps and whatnot, it's going to be right around the corner, and I'm looking forward to that. With that being said, let's take another break. When we come back, we'll chat some more golf. We'll circle back to our conversation with the Red River Amateur Championship, and we'll hear from one of the champions, Kathryn VanArragon, will join us on the other side of the break after her win at the Moorhead Country Club. 2 years in a row. Looking forward to that conversation coming up next.
This is Hot Mic with Dom Izzo, presented by Northwestern Mutual.
Welcome back on this Tuesday morning edition of Hot Mic. Sam Getzinger filling in for Dom Izzo today. We chatted about a lot this morning. Let's turn our attention over to the golf course and what we saw over this last weekend at the Bell Bank Red River Amateur Championship. Happy to be joined now as we get ready to wrap up the show this morning with the champion of the women's side of the field, Kathryn VanArragon from the University of St. Thomas. Kathryn, it's great to see you. Thanks for taking some time. Two-time defending champion of this event. You've had an opportunity to sleep on this for a little bit. How does it feel? Does it have a nice ring to it for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for having me. It feels great. It's awesome. And obviously a very big, important tournament and one that I just love competing in. And obviously it's an honor to win.
So let's dive into what happened over the last weekend, last couple of days, if you will. Start with that opening day, a 66 on the first day, 6 under. Did you go into the Moorhead Country Club thinking that maybe that number was obtainable? What was going through your mind?
Honestly, I didn't even have a number in mind. I think I went in with not really any expectations, which sometimes is the best way to do it, right? But I think after the first few holes, felt like I was hitting it pretty well. Made a nice longer putt for birdie on my third hole of the day, which was hole 12. And I think after that, it just sort of all came together.
I was going to ask, at what point in the round did you have an idea of, okay, I can break my own record that I set just last year? Was there a point that crossed your mind, or were you just smooth sailing the whole way?
I think it wasn't until kind of the last couple holes when I realized that could be something that was attainable. But it wasn't really in my head throughout the day. I think that was more of an afterthought, which was probably nice to sort of not have that pressure.
No doubt. Take us through the second day. You go through with a 73, which is still a fantastic round. How much did that set you up for the final day? What was going through your head after Saturday?
Yeah, I think Saturday was a grind, honestly. I think there was the wind had kind of picked up. You know, it was a different golf course, quite honestly, to play on Saturday with sort of the changing conditions, and so I was just happy that I got through that kind of pretty relatively smoothly. I think I had two bogeys and one birdie, so it was a lot of pars, just sort of playing boring golf, if you will, and so I think it was all I really needed from that day. I think I wasn't really expecting to go out and shoot a 66 again or anything like that. So yeah, it was a fine round, and I think it set me up well for yesterday.
You did. You had a comfortable lead, if you will, going into the final day at the Moorhead Country Club. Now take us through that final day on Sunday, because that's where things got exciting. On the back nine, maybe not the start that you would have wanted. Claire Jamieson starts to make a push on that. Describe that final round for you and what was going through your mind on Sunday.
Yeah, so on Sunday, I got off to a good start, honestly. I think I birdied 2 of the first 3 holes. And after that, obviously, that it felt good. It felt like my game was in a good spot. I was hitting good shots. And then hole 10 came and obviously did not go very well. I made a 7, just literally like hitting 5 shots around the green. So that was sort of a lot of errors accumulating there. But after that, I think it was a lot closer than obviously it had been previously. And that changed my mindset a little bit to where it didn't feel like it was coming quite so easily. And I had to really get back on track after that.
How did you get back on track? Because when I make a double or a triple, the rest of my round is done for the day. How do you keep yourself in it for the rest of the round?
It's tough, and I think that's part of my journey, like maturing as a player, I think, has been learning how to get over some of the bad holes, bad shots, that kind of thing. And I think having a caddy really helps. Having my mom there to caddy for me, we could talk about something other than golf, get your mind off of things. There's a lot, obviously it's much easier said than done, but there's something to be said for looking forward and not backward. Especially in golf, thinking of the opportunities that lay ahead instead of some of the unfortunate things that have happened. But it is difficult. I mean, once things go wrong, it can sort of feel like a downward spiral. Mm-hmm. But I think getting a par on the next hole, making like a 4-foot, 5-foot putt for par, whatever that was, on 11, was helpful for that sort of bounce back.
Yeah, no doubt. At any point, it got down to a 1-shot lead kind of late into the final round. Did you feel pressure at all?
I didn't really feel that much pressure. I mean, Claire was playing some really great golf, and I think it was a different mentality because it wasn't like I was playing really badly and sort of falling backwards. I mean, I'd fallen a couple shots, but it was more just her playing some great golf and making great putts and getting herself out of some situations. And so I think it was more just more patience that was needed than feeling that pressure, just sort of staying in my lane and doing what I could personally. And it did help to know that I was still hitting good shots, giving myself some opportunities and those kinds of things as we got sort of down the stretch there.
For all of us that helped cover this Red River Amateur Championship for the last couple of years, we're always curious on those who are playing, and especially in the lead. Do you leaderboard watch at all? I know they have monitors out where you can essentially watch the round as it's going. Do you look at that when the opportunity arises, or do you try to stay in your own lane?
Oddly enough, in other tournaments, I don't leaderboard watch. Generally, in college, I don't. But yesterday I did. So I think it was just, especially I think after I made a triple and Claire made a birdie, I knew that was a significant change, and I was just kind of wondering where things had shifted on the leaderboard. So I did look then, and obviously I was aware from then on where things kind of stood.
We just watched the highlights of the final round. The 18th hole, how good did that approach shot feel when you were in tight for birdie?
That felt good. That was, I mean, that hole it's a tight fairway, yeah. And hitting, I think I was like a foot off the fairway, which I was totally fine with, but hitting a good drive and then a nice approach was very nice. I mean, it took a lot of pressure off for that last putt.
Final putt goes in, you make the birdie. You talk about your mom being on the bag for you. What was the emotions that you felt on the 18th green?
I think it was an accumulation of a lot of emotions from the day. I think it was generally, it was there was a lot going on, yes, with the whole round. It was a roller coaster of emotions. So I think when the final putt dropped on Sunday, it was kind of just sort of a letting go of a lot of stress and things that had accumulated throughout the round.
Well, you have played so well at the Moorhead Country Club for the last couple of years now. It's maybe not the longest course you have ever played, and it's definitely tight in some areas, but is there something that just suits your eye when you go to Moorhead and play in this tournament?
I don't know. I think what I love about Moorhead is just how much you have to think your way around it. I mean, it's by no means like a driver off the tee every hole sort of thing. It's you got to be more strategic than that, or you'll be punished. And I think that I enjoy courses like that where you have to put a little bit of extra thought into where you're missing it, where you're laying up to, all of these things. Like you have to kind of think a couple steps ahead, and I think those challenges are really fun, and it's very unique to that course.
Absolutely. Hey, you've seen it for the last couple of years as well, and we've talked about it on the broadcast and on this show. Just the women's competition and the level of player that's in the field, especially the last two seasons, it's pretty good. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would agree.
Tell us about why do you come back to this event, and why do so many of your teammates come to this event?
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of Tommies in the field.
No doubt.
Ever since Isabel Lynch won 2 years ago, it's been a lot of us up there, a lot of Tommies, and I think it's just there's something that really just draws a lot of people in to play it. A lot of great college players on the men's and the women's sides. I think it's a true test of a golf course. I think it's fun to go up there with teammates and, hang out for a few days, especially in the summer when you don't see each other as often as you would in the school year. And so I had a great time hanging out with the five of us that were there from the St. Thomas team over this past weekend. And I think it's just a lot of fun and a good test of golf.
You are the third straight St. Thomas golfer to win this event on the women's side. You've won it the last 2 years. I told you before we got on the air here, I'm a Southern Minnesota guy. I'm familiar with the University of St. Thomas. I remember when they were a Division III school. That was most of my time growing up. The Tommies were D3, now Division I. How different is it? I know you weren't there when they were D3, but how different is it now that the university is Division I and this program is playing Division I talent?
I see developments every year. Going into my senior year now, there are things that we have now. Our new arena for hockey and basketball, that changes the whole experience of the campus. We have so many additional stuff. Like we have a fuel station. We can go and get food after we lift and keep ourselves fueled throughout the day. Like there are just a bunch of little things that the athletics department has put in place that help us get better every day. And I think that's really showing in the way that our programs have succeeded, especially in this huge leap from Division III to Division I. I remember seeing the St. Thomas campus for the first time when I was 14 years old, and it wasn't even on my radar that I would maybe end up there. But obviously I'm so glad I did.
Absolutely. Well, it's worked out really well. You're going into your senior year, as you mentioned. Do you have goals for yourself for this upcoming season, or goals for the team that you guys would like to achieve?
I think this being my last year, my main goal is just to enjoy it. I think golf has given me so much, and my biggest goal is just to leave satisfied with all of it, especially my last season. And, team-wise, we're obviously, us and all of the athletics programs at St. Thomas, we're a growing program, a developing program. And I want to leave a legacy at the school where, our culture is one of hard work, of constantly supporting each other, pushing each other, and just being good members of a team on and off the course. And that's my personal goal for our team, is that we continue to grow that culture even after I'm gone.
For those that aren't familiar with Summit League Golf on the women's side, how would you describe the competition that you're going up against week in and week out?
There's some great golf in the Summit League, and it's become more and more competitive across schools. I mean, Summit League this year was a lot of great golf, and South Dakota State won. They played amazingly well at the conference championship, and there were a lot of teams that were in the hunt and competing. So it's just great to see the competition that we have and the competition that we're able to be a part of, even though we're up north schools and sometimes we get overlooked in ways that those down south don't.
Again, Kathryn VanArragon joining us here, soon to be senior golfer at the University of St. Thomas. Couple more here for you before we let you go this morning. What does the rest of your summer look like? I imagine it's a booked out schedule. Am I not mistaken there?
Yes, it'll be busy with golf and practicing, getting ready for the season. I also do have a couple more tournaments, the Minnesota Women's State Amateur, State Open. Those are ones that I like to play in every year. And then I'm playing the 4-ball with one of my good friends, Emma Welch, in a few weeks now. So awesome. I'm excited for all of those things, and then we'll just see what the school year has in store.
I'm curious, for someone who's got as busy of a schedule as you do, and I love golf as much as the next person, but sometimes I got to put the sticks away for a little bit. Do you ever feel like, okay, this is a good time, need to just take a month or however long it is to take a break?
Yeah, every year I take a couple weeks at the end of the season after conference. I think that's good just for body, for mind, just having some time to relax and maybe not think about golf for a little bit. But I think that's definitely a benefit, though, of also having teammates to motivate you to make practice fun. And just having people to play with is a huge blessing. And that's really one of the reasons that I love college golf so much, and that I'm still playing after all these years.
Well, I'm going to make you think back. How did you get into this game? Was there something that happened that made you want to get into golf?
My parents actually don't play golf. So my older brother plays golf. He's 4 years older than me. He's on the Korn Ferry Tour now. So he obviously has had a fantastic career and is very good. And I just played golf because he did. And he's gotten me into the game. He's taught me so much of what I know about it. And I'm obviously very grateful for him and incredibly proud of what he's doing in his own career.
Yeah. Do you guys get to play often? How competitive are those rounds?
They're very competitive when we do get to play. He lives down in Florida now, so I don't see him a whole ton anymore. But back in high school and everything, when we would play together a lot, that was always fun.
So your brother's off in the pro ranks. Is that something you're hoping to do in the future? Is that what we can look forward to?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's a tough circuit. It's hard to make it. And I think there's a possibility that that's my journey, but right now I'm thinking I'll be done after college.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, we'll see if anything changes after that. Kathryn, again, congratulations on your win at the Red River Amateur this last weekend. It was super fun to watch you play, and hopefully we'll see you again next year.
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me.
Kathryn VanArragon from the University of St. Thomas, your winner of the women's field in the Red River Am, a 3-day total of 4 under. Super impressive. Great to have her on this morning. Let's step aside. When we come back, we'll wrap up this Tuesday morning edition of Hot Mic when we come back on WDAY Extra. Couple of minutes left to go as we wrap up this morning on WDAY Extra. Big thank you to Kathryn VanArragon once again for joining us. The University of St. Thomas, soon-to-be senior golfer after winning her second straight Bell Bank Red River Amateur Championship. What a treat she is to watch, and that women's competition over the weekend was very exciting, especially down the stretch on the final day, on the last couple of holes. She finishes 66, 73, 73 for a 3-day total of 4 under. And as you heard her talk about, it was real tight. Her and Claire Jamison, who's actually from Alabama, going to go to the University of Nebraska, but has ties to Moorhead. She was in this field. Her and her sister Molly played very well over the weekend, and Claire really gave it a run. She is going to be just a senior in high school, if I'm not mistaken. She's still got some time in the high school ranks. So if she comes back over the next couple of years, I think she is a good contender to potentially take this one. But as you heard Kathryn mention, maybe no plans of going pro, so hopefully we'll see her back in Moorhead and defend that title next year. She is great to watch and great to listen to what she has to say as well. Now, tomorrow on the show, Carter White will join us. He was the winner of the men's side, the Verndale, Minnesota native, getting the win in the men's competition of the Red River Am. He was unbelievable, 8 under for his 3-day total with a course record of 63 in the second round. That actually broke the course record set last year by Rylan Petrie, his Carter White's teammate at North Dakota State. Petrie, a local guy as well from Fertile, Minnesota. The small-town Minnesota golfers getting the job done at the Moorhead Country Club, which is really cool. So Carter will join us on the show tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. With that being said, before we get out of the door, let's get into our What to Watch for this Tuesday. All right, as we told you earlier, the Minnesota Twins, after their close win, closer than what was hoped for after they jumped out on the Astros yesterday. Game 2 is later on tonight, 7:10 on Twins TV. Joe Ryan will get the start. We'll see him in a Twins uniform. Not sure how many more times we'll be able to do that with the trade deadline looming at the beginning of August. But Twins and Astros tonight, looking for the series win, getting closer to the All-Star break as well. In World Cup action today, plenty of good games. We had 3 great ones yesterday. I expect 3 more today. France and Sweden will go at 4 o'clock on Fox. We also have the Ivory Coast and Norway, and Mexico and Ecuador. Norway plays at noon, and Mexico-Ecuador is at 8. And also Wimbledon is going on all day on ESPN. Serena Williams is making her highly anticipated return. She will play right at the end of this show on ESPN, so go tune into that if you want to catch Serena Williams back on the court at Wimbledon. With that being said, thanks for letting me fill in. Thanks for joining us here on this Tuesday morning. Big thank you goes to Mike McFeely, Andy Young, and Kathryn VanArragon for joining us. I am off. I'm heading on vacation after today. Riley Swenson will be in the studio tomorrow, and on Thursday, Isaac Dienison makes his Hot Mic debut on Friday. Looking forward to that. A lot of great guests coming up, and I'll be tuned in from afar. So until then, enjoy your holiday weekend. Happy birthday to the United States of America. Looking forward to celebrate. Enjoy your Tuesday. Enjoy your week. And we'll see you a little bit later on. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.